Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Benjamin Breaker to Vaani, and I am back with a replay that I took from the front page of Drop.sc. As you can see, both of our players are in Masters League, and I'm not trying to make a rip of any caster out there. I'm just trying to do things in my own hyped little way, if you will. I'm the human hype machine, but enough about my own self-intro. It's gonna be at the 12 o'clock position, spawning as our red Protoss. It's Matt. And at the 6 o'clock position, spawning as our blue Terran. He is Dexter, not Dexter Hammer. That's interesting. I actually thought on Drop.sc his name showed up as Dexter. Let me go ahead and double check on that real quick. No, I'm sorry, it was Chris and Hammer, yeah. Matt and Hammer, what on earth? Drop.sc is broken today, guys. At least Hammer showed up, right? Yeah. Well, at any rate, many of you guys are probably wondering, well, what on earth is Breaker doing casting Heart of the Swarm? The fact of the matter is, this is going to be the standard in StarCraft 2 competition, and for the rest of the 2015 competition year. That much goes without saying. They're not going to jump mid-ship to Legacy of the Void. Are you guys crazy? But one thing that I highly appreciate is that Blizzard has finally done something about the Swarm Host Snooze Fest game. Of course, that isn't going to change the early phase macro, or excuse me, early game macro phases of StarCraft 2. We're still going to have that 5, 10, possibly even 15-minute macro time to deal with in Heart of the Swarm. But I really feel like Swarm hosts are going to change that up almost entirely. Now, the nice thing about TVP is I feel that generally in the early to mid game, we can see a lot of action taking place on the map. So that's one reason why I elected to go with this replay over a ZVP, or perhaps even a TVT, or in some cases PvP. Already Matt's going to arrive here, and he can see that he can't get his probe into his opponent's main, so getting there a little bit too late, and that's just one advantage that Hammer's going to have at this peculiar location. The big disadvantage that comes with what Hammer is doing at this location is what happens if both of these supply depots get knocked down. We see him almost instantly supply blocked in that scenario. Right now, we do have Marines on the way. No Reapers whatsoever, so the amount of resources being floated to this point lead me to believe that we'll see a factory fairly soon. And then perhaps a starport to follow up. And some form of drop harass that's either going to involve Widow Mines or Hellions. The really neat thing about this build versus Protoss is that if your opponent does not go the Stargate opener, then it also allows you to transition into Banshee play, and then just deal out all the more damage on your opponent's economy. Of course, we all know how rough TVP can be at sometimes, citing the most recent game that I saw between Alive and I think Fantasy in Pro League. All I could remember is it was Startail Live playing against someone from KT Rolster. I don't think that was Fantasy. No. I have to really stop and think about this for a minute. It's making my head hurt. But Proxy Stargate, 3 Oracles, yeah, GG. Pulling a Haz against the guy on the Yowie Flashwolf Startail roster. Would you ever believe that? At any rate, we now have quite a small handful of bio right outside the natural of Hammer. And he's getting Widow Mines into the mix. I'm wondering what on earth this is supposed to be. It's a little bit confusing at this moment. His opponent's gone for a natural expo much faster than that of his own. Tech up is going to be straight up robo. And I think I can in some ways appreciate that move, but it looks like Hammer is moving out here with a timing that is meant to get into the main mineral line. And he's continuing to crank out more Marauders behind this. I can appreciate this, I really can. And right now, there's one big flaw coming from Matt at this moment, and that is he's oh man, he's only now getting that sentry. The interesting thing to ask everyone is, how does Hammer know that there's only a Stalker here and that it's completely safe for him to move up this ramp? Just something interesting worth noting. The Widow Mine is burrowed. Doesn't look like it'll connect with anything anytime soon. Detection does come out, and now we've got Matt on the safe side of things. Hammer's gonna pull back for the time being. And, oh, look at that. Matt actually slips into his opponent's main. Not bad. Okay, but that's all he gets into the read in with his probe. He doesn't see how far behind his opponent's natural is, or how far ahead his own, if you will, economy is at this stage. Actually, somehow it is behind at this point. There have been no workers killed. That natural expo was ready to go before that of Matt's. And Matt somehow has a worker lead. That's the one thing I don't really understand at this point. And that giggle is actually my girlfriend doing her best to make me smell like I'm cute. And now she's putting glitter all over my arm. Enough about that. Force fields do segment off the units rushing into the main ramp here. And this is going to be shut down very quickly. With that Marine going down, that denies all vision on the high ground. And guess what? There's an observer out here. Throw out another one. One stalker will fall here, but I think we'll see. Oh, that's not good. There's no more force fields with this. Now we got Matt in quite a bit of trouble, as there's going to be about 4 Marauders working their way up the ramp. And quite a few Widow Mines working their way into that main mineral line. Hammer is definitely punishing the rush in terms of economy, if you will. But now look at the natural. It's about to get sunk with a Widow Mine. Ooh, does take down 1 probe for the time being. Oh man, and that takes down another, but I mean, like, that only brings it to 3 killed. That's kind of like RNGesus just doesn't love our Terran, you know? In some ways, I guess you could say it's luck. In some ways, I guess you could say it's where you plant it. But now it looks like Hammer is in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. If I'm looking at this correctly, he's trying to go into mech. When does mech work out versus Protoss? Now my girlfriend's asking me if this stuff looks good on her, and it really does. She just doesn't know any better. She has to ask me. I tell her she looks good without makeup. You know? And that kind of reminds me of that old StarCraft clan, if you will. Love your girlfriend. Yes, I know a lot of people are going to bang me down, shoot me down for that one, because Winter basically founded and came from that team. But I knew about Winter before he was paying for viewer bots. So, I mean, a little bit of credit to that guy. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Before he started buying viewers, if you will. Supply depots, supply depots, supply depots galore going down for Matt in the background. I'm not entirely sure about the reason to just reposition that last one. It's only 25 minerals, waste a few seconds. And I mean, if nothing else, you could always just lower the depot so that units can move around it. Alright, in the background, of course, there was a Twilight Council. It did get canceled, and now it's being turned into a robo without any units being scouted. Let's go back and check that for a minute. Hang on. I hate to do this in the middle of a replay, but this is looking very strange. Let's see what made him choose to do that. Twilight Council is in production. Let me double check that. Okay, so I think he saw a double factory, at least with his observer. He checked. Let's. I'm not gonna lurk around being suspicious of this guy all day. It's just not gonna work out. But the fact of the matter is, we have a Terran doing a strategy that's not all that orthodox versus Protoss. We're talking mech, and it can hurt a lot of the time. Excuse me, a lot of the time. If Terrans are not successful. Excuse me, that's like Curie causing hiccups at this moment. Alright, now finally we've got Matt on supply blocked. For the longest time he had a warp prism that could have been dropped, or not dropped, but rather cranked out if it were not for the fact that it were just constantly stuck on the supply block. That is a lot of Hellions coming out of this factory. This one, that's like 4 at a time being made right now. But hold your horses, Jethro. This is looking a little bit strange. We got Hammer now ready to take a right here. There he goes. He's gonna try and drop into the main here, but I mean, there's already cannons. Twilight Council coming in a little bit late here, and the Colossus production will be picked up on. But I do want to note that there's a very painfully low army supply for Matt at this moment. All 4 of the Widow Mines drop at this location. Looks like there's going to be some kills. There will be blood. And oh my god. Look at those kills. 24. 24 since the beginning of the game. I want to go back and check that out on replay. Sorry about that. I normally don't do this, but now I have to. I love it, I love it, I love it! Look at this! 21 workers killed, all with these Widow Mines. Adding to the 3 that were already dealt with. And now, it's not coming back. It's a lot of Hellions in this peculiar location. What does Matt do in this position? He moves out. He moves out. He's feeling ballsy. He's got a big army supply deficit at this moment in time. One thing that is not working for him is... The big thing is the Immortals. In this situation, they're counting on their hardened shields, and right now there's just so many units out that can shoot them. Not so much with a high rate of fire, not like Marines. And of course, Marauders. There are Marauders, they're decent. But the fact of the matter is, there's so many of them that can work through the hardened shields of 2 Immortals in a heartbeat. So what are those Immortals doing? They're going back home, unless I mislocated that. Templar Archives coming down in the background. And I think, I feel he's got to do something. He knows he's got to do something, and I think he's about to do something, but we're waiting to see what that something is going to be. What's the move going to be? There it is, Warp Prism with 2 Immortals inside of it. And we have our Terran moving out at just the right time, scanning on top of his main army, just making sure there's no observers present. And he's thinking to himself, well, that's an awfully small chunk of army supply, even after I decimated the Widow Mine line. This is not something that came from just one moment of production. Wait, did I miss another one? No, I didn't. This is basically everything. There's a hallucinated Colossus staying behind, just getting the attention of everything. And the Immortals, along with the Warp Prism, a Warp In rather, of Zealots are just doing so much damage here. Colossus gone now. We're about to see Hammer break into his opponent's natural. I just don't know if there's anything our 53 supply Protoss can do against this. There's 5 Vikings here. Nexus Cannon's been triptivated, if you will. And now we've got that Warp Prism coating fire, if you will, baiting out fire. Guardian Shield goes up, but there's only 3 Immortals here. The Vikings are just about ready to decimate that one Colossus. The Immortals are just gonna pile on through all of this, going after the Hellbats, but they are all but forfeit. A last wave of Zealots whips in, and it just isn't enough. We've got the GG coming out from Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Benjamin Breaker Novotny. I'll be here all week. Drop a follow and maybe subscribe to this channel. I'll catch you guys later.